any longer. He's got his finger on the pie, all right? It's 10 pages long. I will link to it on my document, but I can't even go near it. It's too long. He says there is a new peacekeeping border. That's what the Russians have said. And it will be permanently manned by the Russian military. I don't want any friends helping them, thank you very much. We've got Israel involved in Georgia, and now the French are sending their Mirage jets down into the Caspian Sea area. Well, I said the English-speaking peoples were Israel, but for a long time I've included the French. And my main reason for including the French was because of what they're doing. They're doing exactly the same thing as the British and the Americans. So they must be related. Now, he says here, I think Russian nuclear arms and heavy armor artillery, etc., will soon be parked in Syria and Jordan. I think the next Russian move will be to put Russian nukes in Egypt and surround the deadly nuclear beast Israel, which thinks it is above all laws and answerable to no one. He went as far as to say he never used to think there could be a nuclear war, but after last week, you know, the day before the Olympics started, he changed his mind. And here's a body blow. The Saudis, America's buddies, want to buy Russian arms because the US arms sales to Israel always gives them the upper hand over the Saudis. You think people are stupid? We really must do. And the US and the EU tried to knuckle Iran under by freezing their accounts in the EU, and Iran simply withdrew $75 billion. They haven't done that. Listen, it signed a major transport deal with Russia for its oil and gas. China and India have signed huge oil and natural gas deals with Iran. Turkmenistan recently signed a major deal with Russia and another one with China, all right in that same area. Kazakhstan is now realizing that its best business decision is to sell its energy to Russia and China. News broke yesterday that India is buying $2 billion worth of missiles from Russia. What happens when your friend is no longer your friend? And Pakistan, we got problems in Pakistan. And we have outsourced many things to India, like the banking and all that. The Northern Army is starting to move. Well, the West is trying to isolate Russia. The question is, what does Russia need from them? The answer is nothing. But what does Europe need from Russia? Well, for a start, oil and gas. You know, last year Russia turned off the oil tap, didn't she? The energy tap to certain countries. We have had some guidance, some rhema telling us to get really good winter coats. And we have gone further and we are saying, no, not only get good winter coats, but get your thermal underwear, get your duvets and all this kind of stuff, because if they turn off the energy tap, it's not global warming, is it? We are going to freeze. People are going to die. You know, she only has to turn off the energy tap, or she could just price the energy so high we couldn't afford it anyway. And the Chinese, as I said just now, they've come to deals, you know, and India, they're buying up all the oil. So they've got markets. They don't need us. We would really wish that we had global warming. That's what the guidance is telling us. Pay attention. You mightn't believe what I'm saying, but you got a little bit of money, you better pay a little bit of attention. You know, notice how in a moment Russia crushed Georgia with overwhelming force. With 1 million men under arms and some unstoppable missiles, we have a serious problem. And this problem is even more serious, not just because of their technology, but because the eternal God has referred to the Northern Army and its allies as His army. Does it mean they're holy and righteous? No, no, no. He has given them a task, just like He did to Nebuchadnezzar, and they will carry it out perfectly. Joel 2:11, and the Lord shall utter His voice before His army. It's the Northern Army. Read it in there for yourself. For His camp is very great. I said 1 million men just in Russia. For He is strong that executeth His word, for the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. And you can see it refers to the Northern Army in Joel 2:20. But I will remove far off from you the Northern Army. That is after they have completely demolished us and sent us to the four corners of the earth. It seems as if we are right up against the wire. You know, in the book of Daniel, we are given a preview of world history right up until the time Christ returns. We won't concern ourselves with the past. What's gone is gone. So we just consider briefly the present and the future. Well, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He forgot the dream. And he said, look, wise men, you come and tell me the dream. If you can't tell me the dream, I'm going to just chop you all up, destroy your houses. I've got the scriptures there, Daniel chapter 1. But that's the base of it. That's the nub. The problem was that he forgot the dream. He wanted the wise men to explain it, but he'd even forgotten the dream. Well, they said nobody could do that. The king said, okay, right, I'm going to just chop you all up, literally. I'm going to kill you and make your houses dunghill. But Daniel desired of the king to give him time when Daniel heard the problem. And he said, I will show the king. And Daniel was a wise man, wasn't he? He sought God on it. And he had his 3 friends, which we know as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That wasn't the name that the king gave them, but that's the name we tend to know. And they desired mercy from God to explain it to them. And God did. And then Daniel went to the king. And he said, I know all the astrologers and the magicians and the soothsayers can't do it, but there's a God in heaven who revealeth the secrets. And as I said here in my notes, that is one of my most favorite statements. When people are giving me a hard time, I'm thinking, yes, but there's a God in heaven. I remember a little while ago, a couple of years ago, I was at a very, very lavish lunch, and all these guys and their wives were high-flying professionals. And they were sorting out all the world's problems. And I just, after I had enough of it, I said, you know, but there's a God in heaven. And that shut the whole conversation up. Because what do you say? So you see, that was the end of the demonstration of ego, as I put it. So it is very important to give God the praise and the glory.